Hey folks, Mr. Dell here. We are looking at a problem that has to do with finding a percent, a decrease, a discount, and doing the math and doing some estimation and then figuring out what that savings is. So working with percents and cost. So this is coming from CPM course 3, and this is section 8.1.2, specifically number 8-20. So I'll read it and we'll do the math. So Jack noticed a sale on his favorite model of all-terrain vehicles. The salesperson said the company was cutting the price for that weekend, so Jack got an 8% discount. So part A. If the usual price of the ATV was $4,298, estimate, so I'm gonna focus on this, estimate how much of the discount will be. Explain your reasoning. So I know how to take 8%, but if I want to estimate, if I am just shopping in the store and I don't have a calculator and I don't have that, I don't want to find exactly 8%, but I want to find an estimate, right? An estimate, well, I can think, well, what's pretty close to 8% is 10%. 10%, I could do that math hopefully a little bit in my head. And let me show you how if you're not sure. So A, if we're going to estimate, I'm going to use, so to estimate, use 10%, right? Because 10%, like I said, is just a little bit above 8%. So 10%, to take 10% of a number and doing it in your head, 10% of a number is just moving that decimal place once over, right? Because it's really what you're doing mathematically. Mathematically, you're multiplying by 0.10, by 1/10. So I'm taking 1/10 of that number. And to do that 1/10 of the number, it's just move the decimal place. So really 10% would be $429.80 if I move that decimal place once over, right? It was in the back of the 8, now it's in the back of the 9. So if I'm thinking about 8% is lower than 10%, I could probably just round that down to 400 and say, I'll probably save around 400. Or I might save, that might be a little high. Maybe I'd say, maybe I'll say I'm going to save around $375 because I can look at it as dropping that down just a bit. And if I want to even get a little bit more exact with my estimate, but yet without having to do the multiplication of 8%, I can, just as quick as I can find a 10%, I can find 1%, right? So that's 10%. This is 10%. So what about 1%? Well, 1%, remember, it's just as nice as 10%. 1% you normally would take and multiply by 0.01. It's 100th. This is 1/10. This is 100th. So 100th of this would be moved to decimal place twice. 10% was moving it once. 100th is moving it twice. So you can see that 1% is going to be about approximately 43, right? Because I can look at this as 42.98. Let me just write that. So it's equal to $42.98. That's what 1% is, which we can then approximate and say that's about $43. Oop, not that symbol, that symbol. $43, right? So I could even go then further and say, okay, if that's 10% and that's 1%, then I'm going to take two of those and subtract it from there, right? So I can go and say, my estimate's about 350 would be a good estimate based on this. So there's a long way around how to find a quick estimate of something is think about 10%, think about 1%, and do some quick math that way. So my estimate for 8%, my estimate savings, I'll say it that way, would be, my estimate savings would get me I should say my estimate new price, not savings. My estimate new price would equal or approximately oh no, I did want to say savings because I'm saving how much. Well, ask me, I'm sorry. estimate how much the discount will be. Okay, I was right, on the right track. So the estimate savings, let's try that again, would be approximately, I'd say $350, right? Would be my estimate savings. That would, but that's my estimate. So now let's go on. So it says to calculate the amount that he would pay. So if there is an 8% discount, now let's do the math. So this is where we're going to actually find and do the math. Calculate the amount he did pay with an 8% discount. So here's a process here. 8% discount. You've got a couple things you could do. 8% discount would be, you could do this. You could take 0.08, multiply it times 4,298, get your discount, right? Then take that number and subtract it from the original price. So that's one way of doing the discount, right? Finding the 8% of that number, getting that number, which I'll go ahead and do that real quick. And I'm going to use a calculator in this case. 8 is equal to, so $343.84. That's the exact. So my estimate was pretty close, actually. $343.84. That's the actual 8%. And so then what we would do is we could take that then and take the 4,998 and subtract from it 343.84. Add my decimals and subtract. So that's one way of getting that 8% discount. I want to also show that other ways, knowing you have an 8% discount, and the question is, it's asking me calculate the amount he did pay. So if he saves 8%, then what's true? You're going to pay 92%, right? Because the discount and what you pay needs to add up to be 100. So if your discount's 8%, you're going to pay 92%. So a quick way to get this answer without having to do a couple operations would be to take and multiply 0.92, 92 hundredths times my amount, 4,298, and that would give me my what he's going to pay. So let me do that real quick on my calculator. 92 hundredths times 4,298. So what he's going to pay is $3,954.16. So that's what he's going to pay. Okay. All right. And then the last one, that was B. So C says, if the store sold 3 ATVs that weekend, how much money was saved by 3 customers combined? All right. Well, in that case, if I'm just trying to find the savings of 3 customers, that's my savings right there at 8%. So for C, I'm just going to take the savings for 1 ATV and I'm going to multiply it times 3. So I just got to take what is $343.84 and multiplying it by 3. And that is 343.84 times 3 is equal to $1,031.52. So that's going to be the total. What was the question they asked? If the store sold 3 ATVs that weekend, how much money was saved? So that's the total savings of 3 customers combined. So total savings of 3 customers combined is $1,031.52. Okay, there you go.